My name is Chevis Balloon, creator of Opal. It's at opalrecall.com. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to use the tool. It manages your work, projects, notes. It's primarily for written content. All right, so when you log in, you're going to see this here. It says click here to start. You can do that. Also, just recommend going to your profile up here. Go to Accountant Profile, fill out your display name, and you can add an image if you want. Okay. After you've done that, you click here to start. It's where you create a workspace. If you try to do anything, it's not going to work right now. So go here and create a workspace. This is basically like a new desk. Think of Opal as a big desk that you can put things on. So I'm going to create this. I'm just going to call this, task workspace. All right, the slug prefix. This is how your workspace will appear in the URL. It needs to be unique across all users. This is to handle some stuff I plan to do for sharing workspaces in the future. But anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and type that. You can add some colors to the workspace up here. Let's go ahead and do that, I guess. Yeah, let's make this darker gray, and we'll make the text color white. And you can add an icon. I'm not going to worry about that right now. And you can add a description. Doesn't really show up anywhere but here. So, I'll do something with that probably later. Let's go ahead and click Save Workspace, and it's going to create the workspace. And now we have a workable desk. First thing I'm going to do, just going to create a document right now. If you click this button, and these are the different content types I have right now, it's just going to appear right in the middle of your screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It creates a document, and notice that I can drag it around. So let's name this Test Document 1. And you can do, this is a subtitle. All right, and then you can start typing. It's a block editor, and so it has a lot of block editing functions. If you click this little icon here, you can delete the block. You can change the color. If you add a plus, you can choose different block types. If you're familiar with block editors like Notion, it's pretty similar. And so, this is a title or an H1, whatever. I'm not going to get into too much into that right now, but you can play with that. Okay. I can also use this new button, and I'm going to leave it at Documents. Okay, and you can, type another title, okay, et cetera, et cetera. And then wherever you click, it'll create, it's a bug right there. It'll create the document wherever you clicked it. And as you can see, I'm starting to just create stuff that you can visually see. So that's the basics of just creating an item. So moving around, if you have a middle mouse button, you can just hold the middle mouse button and drag around. And if you're on a Mac, or you don't have a middle mouse button or your trackpad or something, you can hold Control and drag around with the left click. That'll help you drag around. Pinching and zooming or middle mouse button, you can also zoom in and out and zoom pretty far in. Okay, and so that's the basics of just navigating. You can always go back to home, and it'll home where you were. Also, if you just want to reset the zoom but stay where you are, you can hit that button and it'll reset the zoom where you are. And that's the basics of navigating. All right. Then I have a few other different content types. The note is very similar to the document. The only difference is it has this color. It's a little different shape. Takes up less space. But otherwise it's exactly the same. Okay. This is for something quicker. It's, when you have less content, you just need to make a quick note. You can also, the thing with notes is you can change the color and have different colors as you want. The binder, I'm going to go ahead and create a binder. The binder, you can also change the color. There's more color options for the binder. This is a way where this is a content type where you can store multiple, you can store multiple things inside of it. Okay. The purpose of this is, let's say you have repeating content. Let's say you have a weekly call with a customer or client or something. You don't want to have weekly call, like all spread out across your workspace. So it might make more sense to just have all weekly calls in a binder. So you can do that. You can actually add binder items to binders directly from using the add button, or you can just drag an item on top of the binder and click add to binder, and it'll go ahead and add it to the binder. And then here it is right here. I can open it from the binder. There's the document. And if I want to remove it from the binder, just click the X here and it removes it from the binder. And that's what a binder does. All right. Then you can have a link. So if I want to create I'm going to do it from here so I can add in the URL right away. Let's add in opalrecall.com and click here. It's going to look similar to a document, except that it has the link right here that you can access, and it automatically scrapes the title and description from the website. If you can edit this to make it whatever you want, and it'll change it. But if you want to refresh, like re-download the metadata from the website, you can just hit the refresh button. You can also edit the link if you want to change the URL. But you can then add notes to it, just like a document right below it. So if you want to take notes on this link, there you can. And you notice that it looks slightly different from the document. All right, now let me add an iframe. I don't have any true integrations yet. So for right now, we're just using iframes. iframe, a lot of websites don't allow it, so it's not going to work for a lot, but it does work for Google Docs. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a test document. And you do need to be logged in to your Google account for this to really work, unless the Google Doc or spreadsheet or whatever is fully exposed and usable. So I'm going to go ahead and create that, and there it creates a different shape. It's how you know it's an iframe. And as you can see, I can actually write right here directly and edit the Google document here. If you want, you can toggle the width and go full width, so you can kind of have a better view of the item. Otherwise, it mostly fits if you're at the normal width here. And so that's handy if it's a kind of more visual way to track your Google Docs, if that's helpful. And then the last thing I want to show you is the fence. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a fence here in the middle of the screen, and let's call this work stuff. Sometimes these are ways. This is a visual way on a grid to organize your content, on the visual grid. So sometimes you can do this per client or per project, however you want to organize it. So I'm just going to call this project 1, and you can change the color of the fence here. So I just changed the color, and then let's go ahead and increase the width. Let's go 5, and we'll make that 2, right? So then if I drag the title, it'll just move the fence around, right? But if I drag and if you click the title, that's what will load the settings for that fence. If you drag the move icon, then it'll move everything that's in that fence, so you can move that around wherever you want. Great. So that's the basic setup of the different pieces of content and how you can organize stuff. You can, there's options here for all the items. You can, share. I'll show some of these things here. Here, let's do a test publish. This is some content, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right, so let's go ahead and publish this. This will make it public on the internet. So if I hit publish and I say yes, publish, it'll create a link for you. You can copy that link, and then when you load it publicly, it'll load the document publicly. And if I want to unpublish it, you just go back and hit unpublish it, and it'll no longer be public. And if I want to delete the item, then I can delete it. And this panda item, let's say I move around and I want, where is this item, but I have it open, just pan to it here. Another thing too, now that I'm mentioning it, is it's meant to be able to open as much as you want. So if I open this other document, as much as your screen allows, you can have multiple items that open at a time. And the cool thing is you can drag blocks from one item to the other, which is a handy little thing. So if you're working with multiple documents, it makes it really easy. You can also link to other items. So I have test document 1. I just copied its internal link. That's not the public link that I was just showing you earlier. And if I want to actually link to that, I can mention the item, and then it will, in a different one, and it will load that item up so I can view it. So you can do some cross-referencing and kind of create, link documents and notes as you see fit. Okay. If I want to duplicate it, I can. So that's mainly it. And then there's some basic sharing. I don't have anything right now that will manage contacts, but if you know somebody's email, then it will. Then you can easily share with them. So I'll show you how that works. You go to share, and there's different permissions that you can give somebody. You enter in their email address and click add. They're not shared yet. You need to actually send them the invite. And then when you send them the invite, then it'll tell you that the invite is sent. Okay. Let me do this from a different account. And so I'll share this with the account that I'm using right now. Okay. And I'll give myself edit permissions. And so when you receive an invite, you'll get a notification up here in shares, which I just showed right there. So if I open up shares, and then I can accept or decline it. If I accept it, then it'll show up as an existing active share that I have. That item then appears in your inbox. And so you can open it from here, but I'm going to go ahead and open it from the inbox. And then you can actually drag this item onto your workspace. You can have multiple workspaces. You can drag it onto a different one if you want. I also use the inbox to transfer items from one workspace to another. So I just moved that to this test workspace. Let's say I had a different one and I wanted to move this item. I would move it back into the inbox. Then I'd change the workspace, and then I would open the inbox again and drag it back out. And so that's an easy way you can transfer items to a different inbox. But that came from a different user, and so I can open that up, and there it is, and I can edit. And then also, you'll notice that when the other user gets on, you can see that they're editing as well. So there's some real-time editing functionality that's in there. And so that's the basics of sharing. You can only share individual items right now, and that's the primary. It's a basic level feature right now. And the last thing in here is tasks. You can have, you can just add multiple tasks you want. This is made so that you can set the date. You could pick any date you want, and then hammer out a bunch of tasks at once. It's appearing at the end, and I'll come up with more sorting and filtering options right now. This because it's meant to show you the oldest tasks that are not done. That are not done first, and then as you click them, you can check them to show that they're done. And you can also link to items from a task. So if you expand it here, then if you want to link to it, you can, and it will. So you can open up that document from a task if you want. You can also type notes in here and then create a note or a document, and it'll pull all your notes from the tasks and put it in here. And if you want to see completed tasks, they're there. It's pretty simple, straightforward, but it's handy. If you leave the tasks open and log in, log out, they'll stay open. If you leave them closed, they'll stay closed. And so it's keeping memory of the last state. Wherever you were panned to, it'll stay there wherever you log out, so it remembers what you were doing. That's the basics. Hope this helps, and enjoy.